Today we make, God, that thing's heavy, hang on. Today we make new burner covers. Make new burner covers. These are done by design. They're designed to rot away. Otherwise they'd make them out of stainless like the burner is. So let's take this out in the garage and we'll start fabricating. Okay, then we figure out how much material we're going to need. This happens to be a piece of stainless steel that I yanked out of a dumpster at a company I was working for. It's a backer for a die for like toothpaste boxes. They use it to make the indentions for toothpaste boxes. Anyways, we're gonna need 3/4 times 3/4, which is 1.5 inches. This side wall right here is 2 inches, so that's 4, so we're gonna need 5.5. And overall, it's 13 5/8 long. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut it and see if I can hand bend it with my hand benders. I don't know if I'll be able to. I might have to go pick up one of the cheap little brakes from like Harbor Freight or something to bend this, because I don't know if I'll be able to get this. This is like 18 gauge stainless steel, and I don't know if I'll be able to hand brake or hand bend that or not. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make my marks and I'm going to cut. I'll show you cutting. Hang on. All right, so what we have here, we have our line struck at 5.5, which we determined is the size of all those added up. So it's 5.5. I strapped it to a board with these clamps. I don't know if you've ever used a Bessey clamp. This is one of my smaller ones. They're expensive, but boy, are they nice. Look down below. I've got a link to Amazon. They are really nice clamps, made in Germany. What we're gonna do is we're gonna cut this with, where is it? Right here, we've got this Metabo. I just picked this up because I blew my Harbor Freight one up, and I'm not in love with Metabo. I'm not in love, what is this, a DeWalt? Hang on. Yeah, it's a DeWalt steel cutting abrasive wheel. I'm not in love with DeWalt. I don't care. They're all made in the same factory in China. They all roll off the line. So this could easily have been a Harbor Freight, whatever. Or this could have been a Harbor Freight, whatever. I don't think that the quality is any different with tools anymore. I mean, of course, there's going to be the rare example where you have a tool that's far superior than like a Metabo or a Harbor Freight. But for the most part, for what I do, any tool will work. This was 50 bucks, this Metabo. It works fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down this line with our Metabo, and we're just going to cut it. And then we're going to strike our lines, our 3/4, our 2 inch, another 2 inch, and then another 3/4, so that we can bend this just like this. All right, I think you get the point. I'll finish cutting this off camera. All right, cut the length, actually the width. So let's put on our work gloves, because this is going to be sharp, very sharp. And we'll flex it until it breaks here. It's a really good hinge. right, that's easier said than done, it looks like. There it goes. Almost. There it is. All right, so there's our piece. All right, so what we need to do now, let me grab you a second here. Take my earmuffs off too. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to cut these tabs off. We need to measure 13 and I think it was 5/8. Let me take another measure there a second. Let's take another measure here a second, see what we're actually up against. Oh yeah, 13 and 5/8 is a pretty safe bet. So we need to mark them off at 13 and 5/8, which I believe I've already done, but I can't remember if that will mark or how I got that. So I'll remeasure. I'm gonna cut all these up. I'm gonna cut them into sections and I'll come back as soon as I have that done. Okay. So indeed, these are cut. They're probably hot. At least in some places they're hot. They just got done getting cut with that abrasive wheel. And I haven't gone through an entire abrasive wheel cutting this stainless. So now I have my layout. It should be around 5.5 inches. And it's a little under there. And it's right on the nuts right there. So we're doing pretty good considering that we cut it with a 4.5 inch grinder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit these edges with a paddle wheel. And not actually a paddle wheel. It's a... I guess it's a flapper disc. I don't know what they call them. This thing. Put that on there. I'm going to hit those. Before I do that though, I also need to shape this a little bit because there is some shaping that needs to be done. So I'll just strike an arc there and an arc there and cut it. And we'll see how that turns out. That's probably going to be the hardest part. So let's try that. I'll lay it out, bring it back. Okay, as you can see, I've got this all laid out now. I'm going to attempt to cut this. Of course I could have went and bought these, but I'd be right back here in a year or two needing to buy new ones because I don't know if they sell stainless steel ones. Doesn't matter. I enjoy doing this type of work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these out and I'm going to see if I can bend them, but I'm going to cut them off camera. You know what it's all about. I'm just going to take the abrasive wheel, run it down. And these lines, of course, aren't straight because all I did was took this old cover from the burner and just smashed it down. And then I took it and set it on there and traced it. So it's going to kind of be, not perfect, but again, it's a burner cover. It's not a bearing or some sleeve that I'm making to go over a shaft that's worn. So I think it'll be just fine. So I'm going to do this off camera a sec. I'll come back when I'm done. So I took all of the edges off with the flapper, with the sanding disc here. That all worked out. What's cool is I use these DeWalt. I never used DeWalt before. I've always gone with like Harbor Freight or whatever garbage I grab. But I did all that cutting. And as you can tell with the new one, man, I barely lost 1/8 of an inch around there. So yeah, that didn't take much material off of that grinding wheel, I don't guess. That worked out really nice. I like that. So I'll keep them and use them again next time. But not even in my wildest of wild dreams can I bend that with these hand seamers, hand benders. There is absolutely no way. So I'll have to do it alternative. Of course, I simplified the design a little bit by eliminating this cut because I can't, with this, it's very difficult to get in there and do all of that, see? So I definitely simplified the whole operation by just kind of cutting that. And I went and checked out on the grill and I don't think it's going to matter. These holes, I don't think that anybody did a study and said, yes, indeed, this cover needs to have holes right here or the world ends, so I'm not going to drill those holes. If I'm using the grill and the grill is constantly going out, I'll grab a universal bit and pop some holes in it, but I don't think that that's going to happen. I think it's going to work just fine with a solid cover. Okay, I did not have to go buy a Harbor Freight or eBay or Amazon. Little break. All I had to do was go grab this very rusty piece of steel I had laying out behind the shed. And I have this rather heavy cart that I keep my arc welder on. And just kind of manipulate your markings so that it goes right over the edge of this, looks like about an inch and a half tubing. which is heavy wall tubing. Take your Bessey clamps, put her down on there, tighten her down. I'll get it centered. There we go. Tighten her down. The other one tightened down. Now, this has got to be a 22.5 degree bend. So I've calibrated my tool. Second. Don't want that head falling off. 22.5 degrees. So yeah, this is all calibrated. So let's use our calibrated tool. And we can kind of eyeball when we think we're there. About halfway. So you don't want it obviously touching this surface because that would be a full 90. So you want half of that, which would actually be a 45, right? So it's not a 22. Whatever, it'll all work out. So what you do is you continue to beat it until it's half of a 90, which is 45. But again, my hammer's perfectly calibrated, so that should work out just perfect. Take clamp off, clean her out of the way, flip her around. Now, if you have a scrap yard that's local to you, just call them and they'll probably sell you. If they've got scrap stainless steel laying around, which they probably do, they'll sell it to you for whatever, if it's $1 a pound, you can pick it up by the pound. And then you can do this too. Now, this in all actuality took me an hour. And that's okay. I mean, I don't mind doing a little bit of fabricating work. I think it's probably good for the soul. Plus, you don't have to depend on anyone else to make the stuff, and sometimes it's nice to be able to be a little self-sufficient. Tighten these babies down. Let's get another perfect bend out of this. I'm guessing that's about right. Now we want to go to the center and make this bend right here, because we've already made those two bends on either side. And now what we want to do is make this, which is pretty much a 90. I mean, it's not exactly a 90. But for our purposes, close is going to be good enough. This is just to run propane under and cook burgers with, nothing more. Put your clamps back on. Just like so. Pull the lever back. Repeat. We'll take you out and show you what it looks like on the grill. Looks really nice. This is the last one. There we go. Now we want to pound this one down so that it's flat with this surface, so it's like a 90. So here we go. Isn't it an exact science? Isn't this nice? Just like God intended it. There it is, compared to this. Well, that ain't bad, is it? It's almost like I know what I'm doing. Almost. You can see that there's a little deviation, but I mean, really, what do you want? It's a relatively inexpensive Well, if you have the tools, why not spend some time? So let's take this out to the grill and see what it looks like on the grill, okay? So there they are. Check them out. Aren't they beautiful? So I have to let this grill heat up. I also have to go and clean all the rust off. Look what happens with these. Because they're made out of carbon steel, they rust. I mean, they're enamelized, so they last a little while, but they're nothing like this stainless is going to last longer than the grill. And they fit nice. Oh, look at that. I get a little more work to do, don't I? I'll get a stainless steel rivet and put a new rivet in there. But yeah, so that's what they look like. Worked out nice. I really like it. This one's a little off. See that? The side's a little longer than that. I think it slid when I was using the exact brake that I fabricated up in the garage there, but I think it's going to work out just great. This is Hap for Hap Around the House. If you liked the video, hit the like button. Consider subscribing to our channel. Thanks again for watching.